Hi guys, today we're going to talk about a couple of interesting LED light panels, but before we get to these, I just kind of want to explain why these things are, pretty cool, why people use them. Now these have been out for a little while, but for some of you who haven't actually seen it or seen it in video, this is actually the first time I've had one of these in the studio, so I get to kind of play around with it. But again, before we get into that, let's talk about these larger LED light panels here. So typically when you start going with a larger light panel, you're going for that because you get a broader light source. So hopefully it's a softer, it's not so much of a harsh light. And usually these are a lot brighter, a lot more powerful. But when you start getting to the larger panels, one of the problems is battery power. Now, I have some batteries that work with this stuff, but it isn't so cheap. You end up having to spend a little bit more on batteries. That'll give you about an hour, 2 hours of run time. So you gotta buy several batteries. And this one also uses like the V-lock system. So it does get a little bit more expensive when you're working with the larger LED panels. So let's put this one away. So a lot of people like running around with the smaller LED lights. It's easier to travel with for one, but they also use cheaper batteries, something like these Sony batteries right here. So this is the 312 here. Now this one works on either 1 or 2 Sony batteries. And that's pretty much the cool thing about this, is it will work on these very inexpensive batteries. And it's a fairly decent panel, it's fairly large. This particular model here is bicolor, so it adjusts from daylight to tungsten and anywhere in between. So this is the 312, which is a very popular light. You'll see a lot of this stuff online, a lot of videos that I've done, a lot of event coverage that I've used this with. So as this light was fairly popular, people wanted something a little bit larger. And what was interesting was they came out with a 508 model. Now what they did was they took this same body, and if you notice, it's the exact same size here. And so this is a larger LED light source. It's a bigger panel. You can mount it either portrait or landscape. Same deal here. It'll work on these Sony batteries. You have 2 slots in case you wanted to run them longer, but it does work off just 1 battery. So you save a lot of money on these cheap batteries here. And as that model became popular, they actually made one that's even larger, and I believe this one is about 876 LEDs. And as you notice, they use the same housing from the 312 onto this larger 876 LED light panel. So what do you get? You get a larger light panel. It's kind of like moving up to the larger one that I just put away. But the benefits here is you still have your DC input here, so you can run it off the wall, or you can mount these Sony batteries. Now, there are some other LED lights that use Sony batteries, but not a lot of them can just run off of 1 here. So you see, we could just use 1 Sony battery, or we could put 2 in here for reserves, and it'll punch it up a little bit. It'll make it a little bit brighter, but it could be powered off of 1. And then all of these models here, all of these LED lights are available in just daylight, which is much brighter, or in a bicolor version where you can adjust from daylight to tungsten. That will cut down the light output by about half, but you'll have the flexibility of kind of changing the color temperature. So now that you gotta take a look at some of these huge light panels that run off of very inexpensive batteries, it's kind of more affordable when you have to do a long shoot on the location, because you don't have to invest in those huge big V-lock systems. Anyways, we're going to set this up against a wall. We're going to shoot it about 3 to 4 feet away and show you the comparison between each one. And I have a light meter here, so I'll run some tests and we'll see what the CRI rating and spectrum and all the good stuff is. So we'll get that set up. All right, so these types of lights here all typically come in their own bags. They have a AC adapter, battery charger, a couple of Sony batteries if you're lucky. So, you know, it comes with a carrying case. They all come with a bunch of stuff. This 876 here came from the Came brand company. They sent me this to test out. So for more information about this stuff, check out the details below this video or at my blog, cheesycam.com.